This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening, Council. If I could get a mover and a seconder, please, to open up our meeting tonight. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that we do call this special meeting of Council to order on Wednesday, March 31st, 2021 at 6 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried. And our next order of business is to approve the agenda. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and Belinda. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that Council does hereby approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor? And that is carried. All in favor. And item number 4, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof and declaration of conflict of interest. Council, you can do that now or anytime throughout the meeting that you see it arise. Moving on, we start with discussions. The 2021 municipal budget. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the attached municipal budget as the final budget amounts for 2021. Be it further resolved that this budget reflects an increase of 1.5% for municipal purposes only and for all property tax classes for the 2021 taxation year. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. All in favor. And our next item on the agenda is the annual department work plans. Gail, did you want to speak to your report before we open up for discussion?
Yeah, sure. Just a couple of things. One thing of note is since writing the report, we've learned that we were too late in a couple of instances for applying for the rebates for hazardous waste day. One went in today and that's going to be the bulk of it. So I'm not really sure what the dollar amount is, but it'll probably be $2,000 or $3,000 is my guess. So I guess it's just slipped under the radar. It's one of the things that happens, I guess, when you're trying to juggle too much. But saying that, I will take responsibility for that on my part because I'm supposed to be keeping track of everything. And when we submitted the way bills back in October, that's what we thought the process was you submit them and everything gets dispersed. But apparently there's 3 or 4 organizations, different organizations that handle different types of waste that you have to submit to. So anyways, obviously we're not going to make that same mistake this year. And then just a couple of things that I realized when I was doing my own departmental work plan, that I was more focusing on what was in the SDR, but things I just wanted to add that I've been trying to work on is the H&S. I have health and safety policies and HR policies excuse me, that are likely about 80% done, I would say. It's just a matter of getting back and finishing them. So the HR policies, I'm off next week, so I'm going to try and finish up the HR policies next week. And then also we've been discussing the movement of the baseball diamond and the soccer field at our SMT meeting. So hopefully we'll come back with a plan for that in May. And then we've also been discussing with Aqua the hydro reconfiguration plan that needs to be done to eliminate the problem with the emergency power for the lift stations. So Pat's going to be working on a plan to bring back to council later in the year once he gets some pricing for different options. And then just to bring it back to the table that we are going to have to focus more on climate change as we go forward. So, I mean, we do try to work it into our everyday decisions now, but I think it's becoming more and more evident that it's going to have to be a bigger part of the picture. And just again, just to stress the effects of long hours on mental health and health overall. I think 3 or 4 staff at least are getting my disease and not sleeping so well. Again, just to thank everybody for doing a great job. I think you all give 150% and it shows. And I think that's it. I think I covered everything. So I'm good there. Thanks. I'll just take some questions if there's any or comments.
Okay, thank you, Gail. And I'll open up the floor to council. Any comments or questions from council? Drago, or Councillor Stefanik, go ahead, Drago.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A few comments. Thank you for a solid report, Gail. I think for the last couple of years, the staff has done exemplary well under your direction, and it's truly appreciated. Further reading the report, I concur 100%. One council meeting per month, and the rest should be special meetings. I agree with that 100%. I further agree no further major tasks to be taken on by staff. With 14 major events happening now, I think we should put a pause on the rest of the projects that are forthcoming, that are not in our line of sight. I think the other ones should be focused on all 14. Good example, as Gail just said, there's too many projects happening at one time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Any other comments or questions from council? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff. John, you're on mute there.
Thank you. Yes, I reiterate what Councillor Stefanik just said, and I'll put forth a motion that next week on your day off, Gail, take a week off and don't worry too much about that report. If you can.
I would. Yeah.
If you can, it's no pressure.
No, I would concur.
I will try.
With that. Is that everything, John?
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paroff. Councillor Kistemakers, any comments? You're good? Belinda, you're good? So I do have a couple of questions. I'm actually in direct contrast. I don't know if it's because of my position as mayor. I find the 1 meetings a month very difficult. It's a lot of preparation, and it's I'd like to see one suggestion. Gail and I did just talk about this. I don't mind the special meetings, but if we look at having 2 meetings where we put off other things onto that other meeting, but they are scheduled. Balancing the meetings this year has been quite difficult, and looking ahead into the year, I find I'm struggling a bit on keeping the direction and not sure which meetings to put, and then falling in where we don't have a meeting close enough to put something on the agenda. And I just think of we got correspondence on the March 18th that didn't go on the agenda. It's going to be past due by the time it goes on the 21st agenda. So And I'm sure there's other issues that fall into that category. What items, I wanted to ask, what are the significant items that got taken off? Because that was, when I looked at this, I was like, this is still pretty heavy. So I feel like it's still like, what did you take off?
Not much.
Yeah, well, I'm like,
not
okay,
much
okay, do you want me to take a red pen and
everything's everything's intertwined. So everybody did their own reevaluation, and when you look at it, it's really hard to not eliminate, but postpone things. I think, just a second here. For myself,
like, and I do agree with putting the committees, the two subcommittees off till next year, I think, because that needs a rollout and we need to be able to meet in person, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
so there was that, and there was one other thing that you know what, I don't have that. I didn't keep that with me. But really they weren't really anything significant, because everything's sort of tied together and is already in the works, or we've applied for funding for something that we're going to have to carry through. So I think the biggest thing is trying not to take anything else on, because
okay,
I mean, we have to carry out what we've started, and as I said, like, everybody's excited about all the developments that are happening, and it's nothing to do with you know, complaints or anything like that. It's just a sheer volume issue. So I think if we can focus on what we're doing and finish up the few things that are almost done, and then focus more on the things that we've already started and get them, you know, more along the way, I think it'll just even things out a little bit for us.
okay. So really nothing too drastic is taken off the plan. So I'm just concerned
No.
that we're not going to alleviate health concerns if we're not pushing things off.
Yeah, well, I
I'm gonna
know,
push
but
you, Gail.
it's really, I mean, if you have suggestions that you can push off, by all means, but it's really difficult when you sit down and look at it. It's really difficult because they're truly intertwined. So it's hard to put one off without kind of setting a whole domino effect of policies or whatever. They are all kind of hold each other up. So I think just knowing, you know, there's not a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to, you know, come forward, and it's happening, because even the grant applications that come out, like, how do you not take advantage of them if it's 100% funded? Or, like, I mean, that happened maybe 3-4 times last year, just for an example. And even the broadband, I don't know how we're going to do that either. Like, they're big issues, right? But they all need to be done, and they're all important. So I don't know, the staff's put their time and effort into trying to whittle things down. So unless you guys can figure out something else for us, I don't know, but that's
Well,
the best that we could do with what we had.
I do have another question for you about the way that it's laid out. I think it's wonderfully organized. In the budget column, it has staff time. And what I saw when I was looking at these was that you can't measure what's not measured. So for me, I was like, okay, I see, like, it's a lot of staff time, but I don't know, like, I can see the number parts, like where there's money allocated, but that's, to me, it's like, I'm not, like, I'm seeing that there's lots of work being done, of course, and I know there's more than the sufficient hours. I'm not saying that at all, but that would be one suggestion that is, and I don't know if you do that behind the scenes or not.
You know what, we don't, and I think that column was in there just to show if there was added expense originally. I think that was in there from Municipal Government Wayfinders, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it was more or less to show what added expenses were required from the SDR. And I think the column just sort of got left in there. So,
but I think it would
we've never really done that.
Yeah, but I think it would be a good exercise, just because I'm thinking of when Melissa gave her report at the beginning of 2019 about how much time it took to do up the budget. And it was like it mapped it out for that 5-month process, and it was clear, and you could see, okay, and this is, and then it also helps that, look, our treasurer, say, sorry, Melissa, not to pick on your position, but has this many allocated hours to the regular council business. And then this is how many for any kind of other work, sort of, that it might help in the future. It might help with your SMT meetings. I'm not sure, but I just know that anything that's not measured, you can't measure it, right?
Yeah, no, makes sense.
So, so what did you implement in place for the rebates for hazardous waste day? And did that follow through with other things so that doesn't happen again? And I'm not, you know what? I totally agree. And if we can get a good system in place that these things don't get missed, then that's a small fine to pay for that, right? Like that's
Yeah. So, well, now we have a list of which we were never given in the beginning, a list of who we have to submit to. And we've got accounts set up that were registered on the portals. So like Bonnie was the one that did it today for the submission. So I imagine the person in that position will, continue to do so. I just think that the process wasn't well laid out, and now we know the process, and we'll make sure it gets done,
okay.
right after the fact.
And all of our big projects, like our airport and any other projects that we'd have, those are all under the ISIF, and we've dealt with those before, right? We're really familiar with those, of how to submit and everything. Okay, because that was my only concern, was that I kind of was like, okay, we can't miss something like this. Is a learning lesson. And I was like, okay, we can't.
No, you know what? Those government grant reporting process are generally all the same, and this is just something that's totally different. And it, I mean, I guess each individual company or organization deals with their own type of waste, but we've never dealt with anything that before. We've always just reported to the one place. So I think that's the anomaly. So now we know.
Good. Okay, right on. Well, I want to say to all Gail and all the staff, like that was a big exercise to take to redo your work plans, but I don't see much off them.
For nothing.
I don't know if you're gonna have
Can you hear me, Peter?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay.
I don't know what.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to everybody. It just all of a sudden froze, and I thought it was my computer. That's why I shut my camera off, but I don't think it was me.
just said, my screen said technical difficulties. That's all it said. It said the
I didn't have
organizer, okay, it says here, the organizer experiencing technical difficulties. Unless the organizer rejoins, the session will end in 5 minutes. That's what it says on my end.
Oh, okay.
That's,
I'm wonder.
this is a new computer I have, so I never saw this before, but that's what it tells me.
Okay, that
Hello?
thanks. I didn't.
Now I'm
Did
getting
we all
scared.
did we all get kicked off or just me?
Yeah, I got kicked off.
You got kicked off too. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a few of you.
Just a few
Yeah,
of us. So what was I saying, Shannon, when I got kicked off?
that's it. Illegal.
Just about. I think we were just talking and finishing about the service delivery review, how we didn't really take anything off our plates.
Okay. So did you get the part? Did I say the part I said I would be the only mayor? Did you get that part? That would probably tell you this?
No.
No? Okay. That's where I got cut off. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Gail got cut off too? Oh. There, we're shortening the meetings. That's how it goes. And she's probably texting me and I don't even have my phone. Is someone texting with Gail?
I'll send her a quick text there.
Yeah, just see, like,
Trying
let's
to
give
get
her,
back on.
she is, okay.
Yeah.
Let's give her some emotional support there.
She said our internet went down as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Melissa's must have went down as well too.
Oh, Melissa's off too. Okay. The joys, Hornepayne, of virtual council meetings. So broadband needs to be on the list. Sorry,
Yes.
guys.
It does. It does.
Sorry, like this just like a greater power is speaking to us. Okay, how's she doing? Is she still? Do we have all of council here? Yeah, okay.
She must be coming back soon if Melissa's back.
Okay, hi Melissa. We all got bumped off, I guess. It was a select few of us. So while we're waiting for her to come back on, I had no more questions for the work plans. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the report or for the motion, please. Councillor Stefanik and John. Oh, there she is. Welcome back, Gail. We'll just let Gail continue on there and figure it out. But moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Peroff. Be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne does hereby approve the annual departmental work plans as presented at the special meeting of council held on Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. And those in favor? And that's carried. None opposed. And we're moving on to 5.3 broadband. I don't have any further updates for council for myself. I know we haven't had any meetings, so. Oh, there's your mic, Gail.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
about that.
you can't just leave the meeting, you know. Like
A few of us lost internet. Oh my goodness.
It's like, yeah, I did too. I was just joking. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So I don't know what you heard me saying. Last thing I heard you say was, I don't know if there's going to be any difference. So I was saying that I think if we know that we have council support if something, you know, we were supposed to have it done for April 21st and it gets pushed back to May, whatever it is, 12th, that just the understanding that, you know, we're trying the best that we can. And if that happens, just to be understanding is, I think, the best that we can do and the best that we can hope for, because like we know the workload is, it's the snowball started. We're in the midst of a huge, you know, a huge surge forward, and that's a great thing. So I think just having the support that way, to me, and I didn't talk to the staff about this, but I'm sure that would be just make a big difference. Not that you don't now, but just knowing that.
Okay. So you're taking vacation next week is what you're saying, right? Because
Yes.
we are not expecting an HR policy to be done anytime before the beginning of June. And if I see one before then, I know you did stuff on your vacation. Like, is this what it's coming down to?
Probably.
Did I reprimand enough?
You did, yes.
Okay, have a vacation.
Okay,
So I
thank you.
was saying when I got cut off, and I'm even scared to say it now because I was maybe that I shouldn't say it, but anyway, I am going to say it, that I don't know if you'll ever have a mayor again that'll say this to you, but I'm saying it to all of you here that work so hard for our community. You have to take some stuff off, okay? You have to work together and figure it out. And you know, and we do see the work that's being done. And I'm going to share a small story. When my children were little, and this is not like saying that the staff is anywhere as children, okay, that's not what I'm saying, but we learned a lesson from one of my kids. Was when my son Eric would come home from school, he would have a hard time with homework after school. We never seen this. He would have a hard time 3 hours to get his homework done. One day we forgot about it. We had dinner out with my parents, forgot about his homework. In the morning, he sat down freaking out because it usually takes him 3 hours. Took him 20 minutes. And that's what refreshment does. That's why we need refreshment, is that we can't struggle through and get to the end of our workload, because things that we'll struggle through on a Thursday afternoon at 3 hours might take us only an hour or 45 minutes when we're all refreshed. So I encourage you with that. And I'm glad that everyone relooked at their plans, and you do have the full support of council. You really do. We do see all the work that we're getting done. Like, council is happy that we're moving our community forward. So that's all I'm going to say. And I'm serious about the vacation. I'm going to check on that HR policy. Go ahead, Drago, Councillor Stefanik. You're on mute, Drago, sorry.
Just a supplement comment towards the meetings. Originally, we had one meeting scheduled for month of March. Basic math tells me this is a fourth meeting. So basically, we as council are not missing anything. If you only had one meeting, I would start to worry. This is the fourth meeting that actually occurred. So when my staff, or our staff, sorry, I apologize, tells us it takes a long time to set for one regular meeting, I respect that comment. The proof's in the pudding. Fourth meeting this month. We had another meeting in April, if I'm not mistaken. So I like that, as the situation is set up as it is. I have no difficulties with it.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. I reiterate, I'm having difficulties. Okay, let's move on, Council. 5.3. Gail, did you want to speak to the broadband? I know that we hadn't had a meeting or anything.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we had that on the agenda originally to deal with the NSRBN again, and we've dealt with that at the last meeting, but it was set for the special meeting, so we left it on there. There's nothing new to report. I'm still waiting to set up another meeting, and unless somebody has something else they'd like to bring up, I don't really think there's much to discuss in that department tonight.
Okay, great. And 5.4. Acquisition or disposition of land. We're going to deal with that after our closed session. You're on mute, sorry.
There's nothing, I thought there might be something forthcoming for the open session, but I didn't hear back. So we only have the closed item for tonight.
Okay, great. So moving on now to 5.5, Stacy, did you want to speak to your report before I open up the floor to questions or comments? No? Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder, and then we'll discuss the motion. John? And Belinda? Okay, moved by John Paroff, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the township has established a municipal service corporation, otherwise known as the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, to support the delivery of certain housing services to current and future residents, including, but not limited to, those items identified in the Housing Needs and Demand Study completed by SHS Consulting Incorporated and accepted by Council Resolution 2019-528 dated November 6, 2019, such as enhancing public confidence in maintaining housing units for residents, correcting current housing shortages and addressing the lack of diversity along the housing continuum, providing more affordable housing options, ensuring Hornepayne is prepared to change and grow with the regional economy, and seeking funding that the township is otherwise unable to access. And whereas Section 196 of the Municipal Act authorizes a municipality to establish a municipal service board whose duties are to govern the municipal service corporation. And whereas 2 seats on the board are allocated to members of the municipal council and 3 are allocated to community members. And whereas the township has publicly advertised for the applications to sit on the board of the directors of the Hornepayne Housing Corporation and has received expressions of interest from 3 community members. Therefore, be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornepayne does hereby appoint the following community members to the board of directors of the Hornepayne Housing Corporation to fulfill terms as laid out in the corporation's bylaws. Mayor Cheryl Fort, Councillor John Paroff, Bonnie Claveau, Perry Peltier, and Carlo Bin. Be it further resolved that all directors will be sent formal letters welcoming them to the board and providing them with all the pertinent documents. So as you heard, council, as I read the motion, I went with the recommendation from the staff to appoint the 3 community members that that did show interest. So I open the discussion now. Go ahead, Councillor Stefanik. It's okay. There we go. Oh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for a great report, a solid report, Stacy. And I really concur with the idea, the board directors' terms of services, the way they're laid out, they're overlapping. New people are coming in. People see what's experience are staying on. I really like the setup, and thank you for a great report.
Thank you, Councillor Stefanik. Any other councillors? Oh, Councillor Paroff, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I like those 3. That's going to be a good addition to the community, and the way we staggered the people, the terms, is going to make for an effective committee. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Paroff. Any other comments from council? And everyone's in favor of going with the recommendation as presented? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Belinda, are you? No, okay. Okay, I put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. That's great. Okay, so moving on to the bylaws, 6.1. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and Peter. Moved by Drago Stefanik, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1851, being a bylaw to set water and sewage rates for the municipality for the year of 2021, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any questions on the bylaw? Putting it to the vote, those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. (2021) tax ratio bylaw, if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Peroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1852, being a bylaw to establish the tax ratios for the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne for the year of 2021, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the bylaw? I do have one question. Is it possible sometime later in the year, can we adjust the amount that residents pay on their first tax bill? Because I think right now they pay 50% on the first increment. I'm just thinking that might be a bit high for some people to come up with in the first quarter of the year.
It's 50% based on last year's rates, and a quarter is the first installment, and a quarter is the second installment.
Okay, so it's half, but the first payment that's due is half their whole year, right?
No, it's a quarter.
It is a quarter?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, thank you for that. I was worried it was half. So if it was, so it is a quarter. That's what we
Yep.
want. Okay, so I put that to the vote, council. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, and we have the 2021 6.3 2021 tax rates bylaw. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. John and Peter. Moved by John Peroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw 1853, being a bylaw to establish a point in time cutoff for all property classes and to fix the rates of taxation for all property classes for the year of 2021, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the bylaw? Seeing none, I put it to the vote, council. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, and we're moving on to 7, which is the closed session. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Drago and John. Okay, moved by Drago Stefanik, second by John Peroff. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting at 6:37 p.m. be closed to the public in order to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, pursuant of Section 239 2BC of the Municipal Act 2001. And just before I put the motion to a vote, everyone that's online, you can click back into the meeting if you get booted off and you want to see the rest of the meeting after our closed session. So do not feel unwelcome. You are welcome here at Hornepayne Town Council. So I put this to the vote. Those in favor to go into closed. And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, council, we'll meet you in the closed session.